Okay, today our ninth practical is the suspension system. Uh, so now you can see the left seat. These are the apparatus, and let's we enter the theory part. So first we categorize the suspension system as the front suspension system and rear suspension system. So in the front we mostly use the double wishbone suspension and McPherson stud front suspension. Okay. The rear suspension system, there are three types of suspension widely used: leaf spring rear suspension, coil spring rear suspension, and McPherson stud rear suspension. Okay. So first, what are the objectives of suspension? Is commonly okay. Here there are some three objectives, main objectives mentioned. You can see. First, prevent the road shocks from being transmitted to the vehicle components. Okay. So it serve the vehicle components from the road shock. Okay. The second, safeguard the occupants from the road shocks. The occupants means they are a driver or passengers. It's also give a safeguard to the occupants. Okay. The third one, preserve the stability of the vehicle in pitching or rolling while motion. The stability, the balance. The pitching means the vehicles move like this. Okay, it's a bumper. Okay, rolling means is there is a vehicle. Okay, top view. Rolling means not this. It's a top. Rolling means the when the accident or anything, the vehicles are rolling like this. Okay, rolling the side to side. Okay, side to side or this side to side, or sometimes it's rolling like this. Okay, the front side. So it preserves the stability, it maintains the stability and reduce so it's okay, eliminate the pitching and rolling. So first we study the one of the suspension system that's called leaf springs. So here the semi-elliptic leaf springs are almost used universally, used for the suspension in light and heavy commercial vehicles. So these type of leaf spring, widely used in the automotive sector. So what is semi-elliptic? Okay, so I show a picture. Okay. Here this mean elliptic. Elliptic mean there are two set of leaf spring. Here this is semi-elliptic. Okay, there is a semi. Okay, the half of the elliptic, and here 3/4. This is a kind of 3/4. You can see the other. Okay, this is like a convention. This is a convention. This is a very ancient oldest model. Okay. This type of semi-elliptic is now widely used. Okay. So here, what are the advantages? Okay. What are the advantages of conventional leaf springs? Okay, over other suspension system. So first is lightweight. Okay, it is 100%. This weight is 100. Weight is 60% reduced than the conventional spring. Okay, So this weight is normally reduced or decreased by 60% than compare with this conventional spring. Okay, there is no interleaf friction in case of single taper springs. Single means there is a one leaf spring. Okay, there is a one leaf spring. Okay, like this. Okay, that's a one leaf spring. So there is a no interleaf friction because this is the one material. Okay, even case of heavy vehicles where more leaves may required. Okay, like this. Okay, number of such leaves is still less than in case of conventional springs. Further, these rub against each other only at the ends. Okay, that means normally it's bolted in the center. Okay, is tapered. Okay, compressed. Okay, is compressed and okay, holding by a bolt, and there are some clips. Okay, cover it. So that's there is a okay. So the number of such leaves still less than the case of conventional spring. That means yeah. Interleaf friction. So this interleaf friction in this area is very less. Okay, so we can observe the rub against each other only at the ends. Okay, that means in the end of this. Okay, this leaf springs this end each between the each leaf springs. Okay, there is a trap. It's a trap. That means there is a friction. It's kind of friction. Okay, kind of friction. Okay, so this left the tapered leaf springs don't have much friction. Okay, interleaf friction between this area because it's highly compressed by the hydraulic power. It's highly compressed and then is held by this. Okay, center bolt. Okay, so there is no movement within. That's the actual thing is this is highly compressed. So that's why in the ending points only the ending points have the trap of friction. Absence of squeaking. Squeaking means that is sound. Okay, when the two metal part touch or crash or anything, we can observe a sound. Okay, it's like a rattling sound or there's a squeaking. Okay, so this leaf spring absence of squeaking, that's the type of sound. The stresses are lower and more uniform compared to the conventional spring, thus giving longer life. Okay, for an example, there is a spring. Okay, like this, there is a spring. This is the leaf spring. Okay, this is the leaf spring. Okay, when we absorb any stress, okay, here there is a wheel axle. Okay, here wheel axle, there is a wheel here. Okay, that's like that. So when we have to absorb any stress, okay, it's symmetric. It's a symmetric and it's a very wide. Okay, it's a wide area. It's cover a wide area. So what happened? This stress is okay uniformly spread. Okay, when absorb the stress, is it is uniformly spread. Okay, like this. But here, this is not a wide. Okay. When we absorb any stress, okay, or vibration, what will happen? It cannot uniformly, this type of arrangement the spring uniformly, okay, is not uniformly spreaded. Okay, that's why this type of leaf springs giving a longer life. That means the durability. Okay. They occupy less space. Okay, it take the vertical space, so much vertical space. Okay, but here that is not take the vertical space, so they occupy less space. In case of single taper leaf springs, there is no collection of moisture between the leaves and hence no okay, that means so this is a leaf spring, leaf spring and coil. So that means no collection of moisture. Moisture means there is a wetness. There is symptoms of some water drops. That means moisture. So in between these areas, okay, this is a multi. This is a multi leaf spring. There are a lot of leaves. The single taper leaf spring means only one leaf. Okay. So here there is no, because this is fully open. Okay. So there is no collection of moisture. Hence no fretting fatigue. Fretting means is corrosions, okay, they are corrosion, fretting, fatigue. Then okay, it's not lead to corrosion because there is no collection of moisture. So now we see a video of leaf spring. How these type of leaf springs are manufactured. Okay, let's see. These are the leaf spring. How it works. Okay, there are a lot of leaves each together set. Okay, now it's cut. This metal is cutted. Okay. So now it's under heat treatment. Okay, it's highly heated. After they cut or deform some surface or surface arrangement. Okay, it's a kind of heat treatment. You can see it's a roller type or rolling type heat treatment. Okay? Now put a hole. Okay, now these holes. Okay. Now we okay, now bending. Okay, bending or rolling that edge. Okay, here there is a bolt fixed in the leaf spring. Okay, so that bolt ends. Okay, are bended or okay to fix with the bolt. You can see how it can this flexibility of it. When heat treatment, we can bend the metal easily. Our desired shape. Okay, we can bend to a desired shape. Now we have to connect the leaves. Okay, so there is a center hole. He aligned. Okay, he aligned the center hole by a pin. So that this is a clip. So he combined the all leaves. Now here he used the hydraulic pressure or energy to taper. Okay, it's the plate already tapered. Okay, by in the heat treatment, this metal is going to okay make very thin. Okay, so it's tapered. Again, there is a gap so between these leaves. Okay, again by giving the hydraulic pressure, we can it's going to taper. Taper means we are thin, we have to make very thin. Now you can see by the hydraulic pressure, it's very compressed. Okay, that means in the word the compressed. It's compressed, and he fixed the center bolt by a tool, electric tool. Now he fit the clips. This is a tapered leaf spring. Now he checked the leaf spring or testing how it works, how much it can move. Okay. So how much it can bend. Okay. So now he measured how much it can bend, the depth, and it's mentioned in the specification of this leaf spring. Okay, it can travel upwards or downwards, how much it can travel or depth. Oh. Now it's dipped or immersed into the black paint. Okay, it's painting, so it's in the black paint liquid is immersed into the black paint liquid. Then they send this leaf string for sale. Okay. So next we got to the next part, coil springs. What are the coil springs? The coil spring mean there is only coil spring. Okay, coil spring do no have noise problems, or no do they have static freezing causing castner. Okay, this norm is that's not okay, opposite meaning. So not coil springs do not have noise problems. It's not okay, create or produce any noise. Okay, or they don't have the static friction causing the hardness of the ride as in the course of the leaf spring. Okay, then static friction means there are two types of friction. First, no, kinetic and statics. Okay, there is a mass. Okay, you already studied, I think. Give you a force F. Okay, in the particular surface and the mass, there is a high static friction. Okay, there is a value. Okay, when we overcome this value, static friction. Okay, overcome this value, we can move the by increasing this force. Okay, okay. After some time, we can overcome this static friction value. That time, this mass is going to move. Okay, so then it's working under the kinetic friction. When it's object is moving, okay, so that time it's applying by the there's a kinetic friction apply on this mass. Okay, now this is the statics. Static means they are without motions. Okay, so here also the vehicle is okay. When we get the vehicle from the parking, okay, the started period, they are between these wheels. Okay, they are okay. We need the power. Okay, to overcome this static friction. Okay, so in the power is applied like this, the force of power like this. Okay, so here they don't have the static friction. Okay, than the leaf springs. Okay, so that's why in the coil, okay, if there is a coil spring suspension, we can get the vehicle is very smooth. Okay, in the starting point. Okay, that means the harshness. There is no harshness of ride. Okay, when this because they don't have the static friction. The springs take the shear as well as the bending stress. Okay, That means it can manage the breakage or shear. Shear means broken, no breakage or any breakage or any bend. It can okay. It has a tendency to bend. Okay, it have bending stress. Okay, so it's that means there is rare opportunity to it face any breakage. Okay, because the bending stress. Okay, because of the bending stress, it can, if any rough condition, it can bend. Okay, it can bend easily, but not going to break. But however, it cannot take the torque reaction or side thirds. Torque reaction I already told. Here is a vehicle. The torque means upset. Torque means like this. Okay, the vehicle is rotate itself. Okay, or the side thirds. I said this side of movement. So for alternative arrangement have to provide. I think you noticed. Yeah, you can see any by a bus. Okay, the heavy vehicle bus, they have filled with lot of passengers. Okay, much passenger. So in the front view you can see the body. Okay, chassis like this. Okay, there's a bus. Okay, the front view like this. Okay, but it can move very balanced. Okay, it's very stabilized. So, but the body is like this because of two crowd. Okay, so that means this type of this kind of side thrust. Okay, side thrust. Okay, sorry, thrust. That is obtained by these type of heavy vehicles normally use the leaf springs. Okay, the heavy vehicles. Okay, if you notice any heavy vehicles mostly use the leaf springs. Okay, because these type of leaf springs, okay, can give a more balance and it's give a more balance from this torque reaction and side thrust. Okay, so but the single coil spring cannot prevent the vehicle by this side thrust. Okay. So a helper coil spring is sometimes used to provide progressive stiffness against increasing load. Okay. So additionally there is another helper coil spring also provide to overcome this issue. Some way. Okay, next we study the shock absorber. The springing device must be compromised between flexibility and stiffness. Okay, that means flexibility and stiffness. Okay, it is more rigid. Okay, stiffness means very hard, flexibility is very flexible, bendy. Okay, if it is more rigid, okay, very hard, it will not absorb road shocks efficiently, and if it is more flexible, okay, it is more rigid. What means it is very hard, it cannot absorb the road shocks. Okay, so the passenger can feel or understand the vibrations. Okay, but if it is more flexible, okay, it's more flexible, it will continue to vibrate even after the bump has passed. Okay, for example, there is a bump, vehicle passed through the bump, so that time that shock absorber is working up and down. After bumping, there is some time to resilience. So it get a resilience. That means it come to after it's passed the bump, this spring is also working. Okay, for some time because it's more flexible. Okay, So we have to maintain the correct level, okay, between the flexibility and stiffness, okay. So the friction between the leaves of the leaf spring provides this damping, okay. I already saw this. They are between the friction of the end point of, okay. This friction provides this damping. What is damping? Damping means there is an oscillation, okay. This is the center level, this is upwards is downwards, okay. The bumping of socket anything, okay. But the damping means when we okay, is more flexible, what will happen? Is more flexible, is come like this, okay. It is stiffness is come like this, okay. But there is no bumping, but it's very, we can feel the vibrations, okay. So the damping means we have to reduce this flexibility, okay. It's going to vibrate. So there is average this is called damping. We can reduce the oscillation means this oscillation, okay. So between these the friction between these leaves, okay, helps, okay, provides this damping in the leaf springs, okay. But because of the uncertainty of the lubrication conditions, okay, amount of friction also varies. The amount of friction also varies, is going to differ. So hence the damping characteristics do not remain constant, okay. So we cannot define the damping characteristics of leaf springs, is not a constant, okay. It may change because of this friction, okay, due to the uncertainty of the lubrication conditions, okay. For this reason, the friction between the springs is reduced to minimum and additional damping is provided. Sorry. Okay. For this reason, the friction between the springs is reduced, okay. Now we come to springs, okay. Normal these springs. No, this is a leaf spring. So there is additional damping is provided by the cold dampers, that means shock absorber. So there is a shock absorber used here. So you just think the coil springs, okay, additionally with the coil springs, because here damping characteristic is changed by the friction, okay. It's uncertainty of the friction. So here the shock absorber is used to help or assist to maintain the damping, okay. In the coil springs, there is a coil spring already. It's very more flexible, okay. This is shown like this amount of oscillation, okay. So we have to reduce this, okay, oscillation, that's called dampers. So here the shock absorber used to use for this damping purpose. So the device called dampers or shock absorber. In case of coil spring, the whole of damping is provided by the shock absorber. So inside of there is a shock absorber, okay. You know that there is a shock absorber like this or something, shock absorber, okay. You can see the shock absorber with the coil spring, okay. Because in the coil spring cannot don't have the tendency of damping, so the shock absorber used here, okay, for the damping purpose. So we can get this correct amount of Sushmanson, okay. excessive spring variation. So there is a confusion in the name. Shock absorber is rather misleading since it is only the spring or the shock absorber. Okay, what is damper? There is a confusion. So normally we call this shock absorber as a damper. Okay, so it's better to call the perfect name for the shock absorber is we calling the damper. The shock absorber is a common name. The coil spring is also the shock absorber. If any kind of material is absorb the shock, we can call the shock absorber. But the damping means the difference. Okay, it's give a proper oscillations. Okay, so the shock absorber is the best name to call the shock absorber as dampers. So the shock absorber absorbs the energy of shock converted into vertical movement of the axle by providing damping and dissipating. It disappear the heat. Okay. So it's going to move in the vertical movement. That's all. Here it's all. So that's it. Merely only serves to control amplitude and frequency of the spring variations. Okay, the shock absorber amplitude means this type of amplitude. Okay, this is the amplitude. Okay, so it by the shock absorber we can reduce the amplitude like this. Okay, and frequency of the frequency means this is frequency, like a frequency. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, this number of times. Okay, so it's control the amplitude and frequency of the spring variations. Okay, but it cannot support weight and has zero resilience. Okay, resilience means it's come to the that means it take shock also come to take a resilience means is gone to upside and downside. It again is come to its starting position. Okay, that means resilience. Okay, without any variation. Okay, it's come to its starting position. Okay, that means resilience. So it cannot support the weight. Okay, weight of the okay. If we add more weight in the vehicle, okay, this kind of damper have a particular limit of weight. Okay, it can absorb maximum this amount of weight. Okay, so it cannot support the vehicle and zero resilience. Okay, we cannot kill the zero resilience means okay, it has a zero resilience, so it cannot control the resilience also. So the damper is better term I already told. So there are mostly there are two types of shock absorber. One is friction type and hydraulic type. Okay, but in the friction type is now not used. It outmoded or discarded due to the non-predictable damping characteristics. Okay, so now widely used the hydraulic type shock absorber. So here there is a one additional advantage, that damping proportional. Okay, the damping is okay, the movement, the damping is proportional to the square of the speed. Okay, square of the speed is proportional to the square of the speed. So small vibration, okay, the damping also small. That means we drive the vehicle in the small speed. Okay, small speed, the vibration also, okay, there is a bumper. Okay, we drive the vehicle on the bumper with high speed and small speed. Okay, when we get the high vibration, when the speed increase, we get the high vibration. Okay, so we can tell the we can apply the speed or vibration. Okay, we can take here the vibration. Okay, so in the high speed, square of the speed. Okay, for small vibration, the damping is too small. For an example, the V squared. Okay, we give a 0.2, okay, it's come to very small value, okay, or 1 squared, we get 1, okay. The small value it give more is going to very small. That means the damping distance is very small, okay. Damping is small. For while larger ones, damping becomes automatically more. The larger vibration, large speed, okay. For an example, v squared, we give the 4, okay. 4 squared. 4 squared means it's going to 16, okay. So larger vibrations, okay, vibration is increased, is give the high displacement. That means high is give a damping becomes automatically more, okay. Because of this character is, okay, this shock absorber is very, because shock absorber utilize this suspense conditions, okay. This is a shock absorber. It's better to I explain the shock absorber by a video, okay. This is a monotube shock absorber, okay. That means one single tube. Monotube means single tube. So there's a single tube inside. So let's see the parts of single tube. So there is a floating piston, okay. There is a piston, it's called floating piston. This is the working chamber. This chamber is, okay, this chamber is completely filled with the oil, hydraulic, this means oil, okay, filled with oil, and here there is a floating piston. So this is the piston rod, okay. Here you can see combined compression and rebound. Compression means going to compress here, this word. Rebound means going to the opposite direction, okay, compression, rebound. So it can control the compression and rebound, okay. Valve, that means it is a two-way. So here you can see this side is filled with the oil. Here there is a gas, high pressure gas chamber. Here used for the nitrogen gas with a pressurized nitrogen gas, okay. So now you can get an idea when this piston move like this, okay, with the assist of hydraulic pressure, okay, there is a vibration, there is a pressure applied the downwards, okay. With the help of the hydraulic pressure, this piston compress the nitrogen gas, okay, nitrogen gas. Then it move into rebound or upwards. What will happen? The pressurized nitrogen gas give a pressure to the upside, this side of the piston, okay. So there is a two type of process. One is gas and another is hydraulic oil, okay. So this is gas and that is hydraulic oil. You can see clearly. This is a floating piston. In a normal condition, how it works. So oil gas compression, okay. When the compression time, the hydraulic piston compress the gas, okay, is compression gas. Then the rebound, situation, the gas is give a force or compress to the hydraulic side. Okay. If there is a lack of this gas amount, what will happen? This piston can move to the down surface. Okay. That time the shock absorber, sometimes they need to change the gas amount. Okay. Because there is a lack of quantity of this gas, what will happen? This piston can crash with the downside. Okay. So this gases prevent that oscillation. Okay. So here the gas also working as a damping. It goes reduce the amplitude. Okay. It's reduce the amplitude. As you can see how is. Okay, next we are going to study about the wishbone type suspension. Okay, so what is wishbone? Here you can say this is a wishbone. This V-type arm, there is a V-type. This V-type arm called the wishbone. Here there are two types of two arms. Okay, this is a upper arm. This is lower arm. Okay, between this arm, okay, the shock absorber with coil springs fixed here. Okay, so this is a combined with the lower arm, upper arm, shock absorber, strut and coil spring. Okay. So the vehicle weight is transmitted from the body and the cross member to the coil spring, through which it goes to the lower wishbone member. That means so in the vehicle there is a crossbar. Okay, that means the cross member means, I show a photo. So this is the crossbar. These kind of bars we call the cross member. Okay, this is red color. So the weight is transmitted from the body and the cross member and is going to finally is going to coil spring through the lower wishbone arm. Okay, is finally the weight is transmitted to the coil spring through the wishbone arm. The shock absorber is placed inside the coil spring and is attached to the cross member and lower wishbone member. Okay, that means this shock absorber is placed inside the coil spring and finally is attached to the lower arm. Okay, here it's attached to the lower arm, upper arm is not attached. Okay, it's attached to the chassis here. Okay, but here is straightly attached to the lower arm and it's also attached to the wheel hub. So I already saw, because of the V in shape is called the wishbone arm. Okay. The wishbones not only position their wheels and transmit the vehicle load to the springs, but these also resist acceleration, braking and cornering forces. Okay. That means this is not only the position, it can transmit the vehicle load to spring, but these also resist acceleration. If the vehicle is running with the accelerator, okay, it can balance the all, okay. It can bear the load, okay, or any force when the braking conditions also, okay. The braking condition, the weight, okay, that the weight of the vehicle is transmitted to this suspension, okay, wishbone, okay. And the cornering side forces when turning, when vehicle any turning, that's also that time also this wishbone arm absorbing that kind of stress, okay. The up arms are shorter arms in length than the lower arms. That means the upper arms are very shorter, so the lower arm is very length. When the okay is short, that lower arms are very length than the okay. So low the final, so lower arms is very big. That means this like a the lower arm is very big, its length than the upper arm, okay. This helps to keep the vehicle track constant, okay. This keep the vehicle to constant. So because of this arrangement of the length of the upper arm and lower arm, it helps to keep the vehicle vehicle moving. This is the two wheels. The vehicle move this way. The drag may be constant, okay. It cannot. The drag should be constant for by this arrangement. Thereby avoiding the tire scrub, thus minimizing this wear, minimizing tire wear. That means if we the vehicles move the straight line, there is no less tire wear. If the vehicles move like that, for an example, okay, first is going to here, okay. Or sometimes the movement, for an example, it's like this, okay. So this is not a constant, okay. So this time the tire face so much wear. So this type of arrangement minimize the tire wear also, okay. However, small change in the camber angle does occur with such an arrangement. The wishbone type is most popular independent suspension system, okay. That means we can observe there is a small change in camber angle, okay. I already explained, I think, okay, I explained. Camber means this is the normal position of a wheel, okay. A wheel adjustment, I already wrote the things, okay. So the two wheels are like this, okay. The camber means there is a misleading alignment. This must be vertical, okay. The camber means it's going to like this or like this. This is called negative camber. This is called positive camber, okay. We also have, but already I started, okay. This is negative camber, this is positive camber. So because of this wishbone type arrangement, there is a small is normally omittable, but there is a small degree change in the camber. So this is wishbone is most popular independent suspension system. Okay, I show a video and okay. So we study about the history, advantage and construction and working about the wishbone type arm. So it's invented in 1930 by Citroen. Okay, this person found this wishbone type suspension. Okay, and the advantages: easy to control wheel motion. Okay, easy to tune camber variation. Okay, we can easy to ISO tune variation. Parts can be optimized. Okay, that means this type of parts we can use further in the future. That means we no need to change completely. That's mean. So this wheel hub, lower link, upper link. That's mean lower wishbone arm and upper wishbone arm. So it's connected with the frame. So shock absorber with coil spring fixed like this. So how it works? Okay, in the routing condition you can see. So that's why this is the most independent suspension system. Okay, because that means the vehicle frame is not vibrate. Okay, only these wheels move up and down. Okay, there is no changes, so many vibrations occurred in the vehicle frame. Okay, that's called this is the independent. In the wheel is wheel and socket move up and down very independently. So drawbacks: more space required. Okay, complex in construction and overall the high cost. This is very that means these are very popular and bulky. Bulky means there are a lot of parts. Okay, uh, this kind of suspension is very popular, mostly used in the SUV high luxury vehicles. Well, next we study about McPherson strut type of suspension. Okay, in this layout only lower wishbones are used. Okay, here you can see here in the absence of upper wishbone. Okay, it is straightly fixed here. Only is addition to it's assisted with the lower wishbone arm. Okay, here there is another different. Okay, the wishbone type arm in the shock absorber is fixed inside of the coil spring. Okay, there is two separate parts. One is shock absorber, another is coil springs. Okay, the shock absorber is another part is fixed in the to the coil spring. Here the coil spring is very small, and here the shock absorber is come with the coil spring. Okay, so the size of the coil spring also very small. So this type of McPherson suspension are used in the normally lighter or smaller vehicles. Okay, spring carries the stub axle on which wheels mount. Okay, this system is simpler than this system is simpler than double wishbone type described above, and is also lighter, keeping the unsprung weight lower. That means the spring is very small, so that's why there's a weight loss. Further, the camber also does not. Here there is wrong. Actually, this is wrong. Okay, the camber angle is changed. Okay, with compare with the wishbone type, here the changes is very high. Okay, the camber angle changes. I explain. You can get an idea there because this is independent suspension, but there is no lower arm, so the vehicles not move the vertical. Okay, okay. I explain with the animation, then you can get an idea how the camber angle change. Okay. So this is also same as the previous animation. So here also we study about the history. Early Mac Patterson is invented this suspension and 1947. So it's founded after the Wishbone type suspension. Advantages: simple construction, compact design, relatively cheap. Okay, this is cheaper than the Wishbone type suspension. So now let's see the construction. So there's a wheel hub is connected with the lower control arm, but here in the absence of upper arm, and the strut is connected there. Now let's see the working, how it works. Okay. This is strut. There is a combination of spring and socket. So that means we call that the correct word is damper. Okay, damper work like this, and is assist with the spring. So now you can see the rock condition. I already told the camber angle is like this. Okay, how it works? It's not vertical. When it's any bumpers or anything, the road condition, the wheels move like this. Okay, not the vertical. So there is a change in the camber angle. So you can see in the drawback change in the camber. Okay, here you can see this is a vertical, this is the camber angle. Okay, so in the Wishbone type, the wheels are moving vertical up and down. Okay, because of the upper arm. Okay, but here there's one lower arm and focus up is placed like this. So the wheel can move. We can move in an incline. Okay, position. So this camber angle is higher than the Wishbone type suspension. Low handling, because that is very independent and very balanced. The Wishbone type, compared with the Wishbone type, this is lower handling and poor driving quality. Okay. Okay, let's come again here. This type of, that's okay, camber angle is clear. This type of suspension gives maximum room in the engine compartment and is therefore commonly used used on front wheel drive cars. Okay, already shown the parts are very okay. Unlike the Wishbone suspension, these parts are take minimum space. Okay, because the parts there are less amount of parts, or the less amount or the size of the parts. So here there are enough space in the front space where the engine placed. Okay, so these type of suspension mostly used for the front wheel drive cars. Okay, because in the front wheel drives are mostly used in the CVT transmission, so CVT gearbox and engine also placed in the front side. Okay, in India this system has been used in most of passengers car. Okay, this type of suspension with anti-roll bar as employed in Volkswagen Jetta and Passat cars in shown is figure. Okay, so what is anti-roll bar? What is the purpose of this anti-roll? Okay. That I already showed that is anti-roll mean, and this anti-roll or anti-swap bar. This is okay. It's the correct cross member. I already told about cross member. Anti-roll bar or anti-sway. SWAY. Okay. Sway bar. What is the purpose of this bar? You just imagine it can control or balance the vehicle the side to side. Okay, it can balance. Okay, it's like a balance bar, this sway bar. When the vehicle is sometimes without this bar, it's the vehicle. Okay, it's the front side can roll like this. Okay, when any accident or anything, when turning point, okay, when it's turn the steering, sometimes it may rolling. Okay, it's going to be rolling. Okay, so this kind of anti-roll bar can avoid that. Okay, avoid that issue or that problem. So this is a part of suspension system. Anti-roll bar. Anti-roll bar means let's avoid the prevent from the vehicles rolling in any emergency conditions. So you can see there is a two bar. Okay, another two bar here. This is called torsion bar. So this is the cross, and this is the along with the vehicle's length. Okay. So what is the purpose? This is also same as the purpose. The torsion bar here. This also give a balance. What is that? Okay, the main advantage of torsion bar, suspensions are soft ride due to the elasticity of the bar. Okay, the bar has a elasticity, not a stiffness. This kind of bar with elasticity, durability. You can see in when the vehicle is rolling. Okay, in the side view of the vehicle. Okay. So this is the like this. Okay, this torsion bar. When this vehicle is running a bumper or running conditions, what will happen? There is a vibration. That vibration means sometimes there is a chassis like this. Okay, the vehicles can brake. I mean the brake like this. Okay. When the bumping, the chassis has frame. Okay, so sometimes this may affect the lot of proposed stress avoid the chassis. Okay, so this kind of bar reduce that stress. Okay, so the vehicle cannot resist the way. Okay, sometimes it may be like a bend. Okay, there's because of this stress. Okay, so this parallel bars, two bars, okay, along with the vehicle, reduce that kind of damage, okay, in the vehicle parts. That means easy durability, easy adjustability. Okay, it is also suspension part. Okay, part of it is also adjusted suspension of ride height. Oh, that means it's a best example. This is the hill or mountain. The vehicle is climbing the. Okay, what will happen if climbing? The body is not balanced. Okay, what happened? This time the body is like parallel. Here this is like this. So because of height, okay, there is a pressure here. It may bend like this. Okay, the frame or chassis of the vehicle. So it's prevented from this, okay, stress bending or anything because of this two parallel bars. Okay, these two parallel torsion bars reduce that stress. Okay, and small profile. It's a very small thin bar. so it's proportional along with the width of the vehicle. So it takes up less of the vehicle's interior volume than coil springs. Okay. Some vehicles use the torsion bar without the coil springs. Okay. This also kind of it's like work like a leaf spring. It's also work like a leaf spring. Okay, like this. The torsion bar also absorb the such shocks. Okay. So this is the advantage of torsion bar. Provide increase, so this anti-roll bar provide increased road safety, okay, improve ride comfort and light and self-stabilizing steerings, okay. Because this crossbar, sometimes you, okay, you to turn the steering, this vehicle may unbalanced, okay. So this sway bar is control the traction of the vehicle. That's called traction of the vehicle. The vehicle can, when you turn the steering, we are okay. That's similar. This is traction. This is called not unbalanced traction. Okay, like this. So the gaps are same. This so in the anti-roll bar maintain or keep the traction of the vehicle. Car continuing along the line to travel the brakes, yeah, traction, brakes. If any condition, the brakes are applied, even though the road surface, the surface condition may be wet. Sometimes it's a slippery surface or the oil. If any condition, okay, the direction not change because of this help of this anti-roll bar. So finally, you see a video about the old suspension system. So this is the off-road vehicle. So now you can see how much the suspension system is important. So there are two types of suspension system. One is dependent and another is independent. So not independent means when the suspension works, the vehicle frame also getting vibrate or move. Now you can see this is independent. So only the wheel and suspension systems are work. The body frame is not get any stress or any vibrations. So this is a McPherson start push rod suspension. This kind of leaf spring. I play again. Wait. So this is a McPherson suspension system. This kind of push rod. And here these type of suspension mostly use the off-road vehicle. Okay. This is separately. These coil springs are separately, which is used for the off-road vehicle. This is a leaf spring. You already know the first leaf spring. So you can see the center bolt and tapered multi springs. Okay, multi leaves and clips. How it connected with the wheel axis. So how this work? Leaf springs. How the leaf springs? Here you can say McPherson. The all four suspensions are in one. Okay. Why in the wishbone arms? Okay. This is the wishbone. This is the wishbone arm of this bird. Okay. Why the name came? Wishbone. This name is came from the vehicle. So this is the wishbone type suspension. Now you can see. Why wishbone? When you break the wishbone, what will happen? Where it break? Okay. If you give a small stress, however, this arm should be broken. Okay. But here, it's not broken in this joint. Okay. This is a special thing. This is the wheel. There's axle or something, wheel up. So it's connect with like this. Okay. Wishbone arm. This is a joint. Okay. This joint is here. Okay. So when any emergency, any accident or any conditions, if this wishbone arm is okay, will be broken in this joint, what will happen? This wheel is completely eliminate or leave from the vehicle. Okay. So that time there are some major accident or any major harmful incidents happen. Okay. So here the speciality of this characteristics of this wishbone means, however, in the when it absorbs the high stress, it is not broken this joint. Okay. Only broken this side or that side. So what happen? If it is broken this side, this another wishbone is controlled or balanced with the vehicle. If it is broken, this side, okay, give a balance or support to the vehicle. So this is that's why the wishbone arms, this arm is used like the shape of the wishbone. Here you can see the wishbone type, how it worked. Okay. It's more popular and independent steering. Here you can see this is the front drive vehicle. So this wishbone is when the wishbone because of the wishbone suspension, the vehicles are move up and down or vertical position. So this axle, this is the front drive vehicle. So this drive axle is connected with the wheel hub. So wheel is move up and down. So this wheel drive is stable. What will happen? The wheel cannot move up and wards. Okay, it's very stable. So this wheel drive should be flexible. It's also have a characteristic to move up and down. So there is a joint. Wait, I will. Now sockets are working. So there is a joint here, the wheel axle. That's called double hardened joint. Okay, there is a joint in the wheel axle, drive axle. So on the drive axle also move. Here the drive axle also move to up and down. The the steering also the steering rod also have that character is behavior. So the steering also move according to the suspension system. So that's why before already I told the drive axle and the steering rod all are kind of the suspension system. It's also move the road condition. Okay. So finally, here you can see observe the suspension. components and characteristics of them, you can mention here the types of suspension parts and what are the characteristics. I already told you explain what are the characteristics mean, why this used for. You write only, that's enough. Why is used for and what are the characteristics. That means the coil springs is not working as a damper. Okay, it's very flexibility. So shock absorber working as a damper, but it cannot absorb, or it cannot bear the high load. Okay. The high load vehicle, the heavy vehicle normally use the leaf springs. So that are the characteristics you have to mention. Here you need to add the torsion bar and entry roll bar. If you find any other suspension system, for an example the ball joint also you can mention here. Okay, you need to add the suspension components and you have to display and about the characteristics. So here you have to prepare the chassis diagram. You can search in the internet, or you will find including all the suspension components. Okay, so you just search the chassis diagram of the car or van, anything. Include all the places where adjustments are provided for wheel alignment. I already told a 3 wheel alignment in the previous class. I explain again. So the toe means, okay, look at my hands. Look at my hand. The toe means there's a wheel. Okay, this is the wheel. Now this is vertical. So this toe means, this toe in means is come to like this. Okay, toe out, the wheels are like this. Okay, camber means, okay, this is a zero camber. Negative camber, this is move this word. Okay, positive camber like this. Caster, there are 3 types of alignment. The caster means this is the wheel, this move, this front or back. Here I mentioned what is camber. So normally this is a wheel, the shock absorber is like this. Okay, the coil spring. Sometimes the shock absorber may move like this. Okay, wheels are like this. Oh, sorry, shock absorber move like this. So because of this is a shock absorber, the wheel is like this. The wheel is going to move frontwards. It's called negative caster. Is move inside, that means positive caster. You can search in the internet and find this clearly. Okay, so there are 3 axes. This is toe means the wheels are turning to side. Okay, here it this one. Okay, down or this side. Camber. Caster means front or back. So there are 3 axes. There are 3 axes of adjustments are there in the wheel alignment. Let's go toe, camber, caster. So here mentioned, include all places where adjustments are provided for the wheel alignment. I already told in the tie rod, when the steering practical, I shown the tie rod. We have to adjust the tie. So toe, we have to adjust the toe in the tie rod screw. So here we have to mention the 3 alignment setup and where we can adjust in the body part. In the chassis diagram you have to mention that. For an example, I saw one of the, here you can see the toe adjustment is made here. The steering, okay, steering tie rod. This is a ball joint. So there is a screw here. We can adjust the according to the thread. We can adjust the toe adjustment. Here camber. So this is the higher wishbone arm. Higher wishbone arm is connected here. There is a called the parcel chim. Here we adjust the camber. Caster, we adjust the caster here. The upper arm is connected with the body chassis. The cross, okay, the cross member where we can adjust the caster. So this is for example. You can mark in the chassis diagram. These are the assignments we have to make. And this is your discussion. You have to, okay, this same as the previous. You have to search in the internet and you have to find and write it in your coursework. Okay, this is end of this lesson. Thank you.